so it goes, go round again. But now and then we wonder who the real men are.
Do you remember when real men played grand pianos on hillsides? I do. Well, now universities around the country are trying to do their part to cure men of toxic masculinity. According to thecollegefix.com, this dangerous strain of maleness can be blamed for everything from sexual assault to mass murder. Here's some examples. At Gettysburg College, a mandatory freshman orientation tells students the 3 most destructive words a boy can hear growing up is "be a man." At Dartmouth College, something called the Orlando syllabus blames toxic masculinity for contributing to the gun massacre at a Florida nightclub last year. And University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill has something called the Men's Project. The Fix has posted a video which features some of its students discussing what it means to be a man.
The reason men should fight for gender equality is
because it's the right thing to do.
Gender inequality is based upon a system of privilege that lifts men up at the expense of women.
Living in a patriarchy is pretty for all parties involved.
Men really need to start learning about their place in systems of inequality.
Especially white, straight guys like me.
I think there's a lot of weird definitions of healthy masculinity. Healthy masculinity comes off as being a real man and like wielding your masculinity as some kind of weapon.
I think those are really important things to challenge when we talk about healthy masculinity.
Masculinity is a form of self-identification.
To me, healthy masculinity means being able to love yourself and love other people and building a world where that's possible for everyone.
Did you ever love yourself on a unicycle?
I was going to say, they really rounded up all the straight guys for this.
Well, these guys were. I mean, can you take all the testosterone in this video?
It was a little overwhelming. I thought I was hanging out with A-Rod. I was like, what are we juicing here? That was a lot. This is why Trump is winning. This is exactly why Trump is winning. People don't want to live in this world where there's just this whole war on white straight guys. That exists. Well, that's the last class of people you can attack.
It's true. Well, you and your buddies from Long Island don't want to live in that world, but apparently these guys on campus...
They don't. They think it's going to help them get laid, but you don't get laid being the emasculated guy.
Oh.
You don't. They're pandering. They think they're going to score social currency, but they're like, girls, you guys are awesome. You don't want to date those guys. You don't want to date those guys.
Is it true?
I had a
You
rant.
don't want to date those guys.
You read my talking points. I had a rant about how angry I was that our higher education was teaching people that there was something called toxic masculinity, that it was a terrible thing. And but you know what? I'm going to throw that all to the side, and I'm going to say, I'm single, and I'm looking for some toxic masculinity.
You're damn right you are.
That's it.
You're damn right you are. You're not looking for the guy in the unicycle.
Of course not.
Come on.
That's absurd. It is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
We're not going to have a civilization if we can't procreate.
This article is suggesting that there are college classes teaching 19, 20-year-old boys and young men that the more masculine you are, the more likely you are to commit mass murder or acts of terrorism.
Well, guys,
that's an absolutely horrifying thought.
But you're in the criminal justice system. Men do commit more crimes, right? Is it a masculine trait?
I'm not going to say that there's any validity to the fact that being a man makes you more likely to commit a crime. No.
Well,
I think that's absurd. And to teach kids that the more muscles you have or the more testosterone you have, the more likely you are to be a criminal is absolutely outrageous.
Well, look who got into trouble this week, Lori. Did you see Michael Moore said it's time we had women leaders because they'll cause less war, they're better people. And you know who came after him? Feminists. They said, don't say that about us.
No, that's interesting. That's the no-go. You don't want to do that. So my impression of this whole thing about the masculine is it gets back to that argument that everybody has to be equal. Being a stronger, competitive guy is a bad thing. Like every kid who plays in the soccer league has to get a trophy that's exactly the same size. We should encourage people, men and women for what it's worth, to be who they are.
Do you. Yeah.
And then discourage the bad behavior because rape is bad. Body shaming is bad behavior. It's illegal. It's really cut and dry.
It's not the man, it's the behavior.
Yes.
Well, would they say that too? Would those guys on campus say the same thing, that they're trying to just change what is, but they would just say they're trying to change typical male behavior and they think that those aggressive things are typical?
I disagree.
Yeah.
Totally.
Mackie, you seem like you do. If masculinity,
I'm still stinging from Jimmy's comments about men that aren't that masculine.
Yes.
Well, look,
if,
to the bone.
If masculinity is toxic, would you even be alive, Joe?
What?
I just said he was.
No, he was going with it. He was having fun with it.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, I would be alive. I think the colleges have really really pulled some clever moves. They stereotype you, you can't disagree with them, because if you do, it's because of your background, and you're not allowed to anyway because it's a safe space. It's the first dictatorship that was created to like spare people's feelings.
Yeah, exactly. Do you play campuses? I mean, a lot of comedians have trouble that way.
I do okay, but it's not my favorite. Yeah, I think people are almost expecting to be like, all right, when is this going to be offensive?
Yeah,
they are. That's a definite.
Well, they like you, but you don't like them. Okay, take that, American colleges. Coming up, 2 scoops of halftime with TV's Andy Levy. And a brand new episode of the Red Eye podcast is available now.